Greetings, I'm Dr. Al Freeman, Education Executive for the South Wisconsin District. Thank you for joining us today on National Lutheran School Accreditation How To Standard 7 on Facilities. I'm joined by Rob Lunak
I'm Rob Lunak. I serve in the South Wisconsin District as the Director of Innovation and Improvement.
and Dennis Gerke.
Serving as Interim Assistant Director of Accreditation for School Ministry at the LCMS.
Standard 7 facilities, I think is pretty straightforward. This an overview here of what we're looking for in National Lutheran School Accreditation, the physical environment, making sure that it's clean, neat, well maintained, free of any issues or concerns. Facilities must be safe, secure, adequate to fulfill the school's mission, comply with applicable laws of health, safety, building codes, always important. And that physical facilities should provide both specific Christian witnesses or a witness, meaning when I step into that school, I should both feel the Lutheran school environment and the faith being lived out. I should also see it. I should see crosses, pictures, flags. I know I'm in a Christian school. I know I'm in a Lutheran school. The school floor plan is one of the required pieces of evidence here, and facility concerns are often a multi-year project. So if there are concerns that you have and you have those in the action plan, make sure that you're realistic with timelines and repairs and maintenance, but also make sure that they're present. I mean, far too often I see our Lutheran schools lack the foresight to do general maintenance that prevents expensive maintenance. So upkeep throughout time, making sure that you're not caught off guard by some extreme expense because of lack of maintenance, because lack of a plan for maintenance and updates and so on. And then, of course, here we're always looking at budget support and budget concerns for this. Thoughts on facilities?
Well, it's not just the building facilities, it's also grounds. And your playground, the safety and the quality of the equipment that is there. Protection for playground areas from vehicular traffic. It also goes back and checks some things that we don't hear as much, like do you have an asbestos plan?
Which is a requirement, right?
Which is a requirement, but I frequently come across schools. What was that? And that used to be a big thing.
Yeah.
But all of those requirements are, again, things that we have lists of those that can be helpful to you to make sure you're up to date.
It's interesting bringing that up. I was doing an accreditation visit, probably a year and a half ago, and one of the things that we pointed out was there was not an asbestos abatement plan that was a requirement by the state to have. So, know your needs in this standard and the expectations that are there and the requirements that are there. And again, if you have a question, ask. You have the consultant to ask, you've got the district to ask. People are there to help you out throughout this process. Playgrounds, I think that's always an important one that you brought up, Dennis. There should be a consistent plan to inspect playground equipment and the surface there, the mulch or the matting that you have down on the playground, making sure that's safe as well. And often there's, the thought of, is there a need to have the playground fenced in? Is there protection against, as you stated, traffic and cars and so on? And also, I think this goes to another element, school drop off and pickup zones and that safety that's there as well. Making sure that you really have a plan and a guideline and adults that are out there to make sure there's protection for the students at drop off and pickup time. Required evidence, current and accurate school floor plan is the only required piece of evidence here. So you would upload that into Jetpack in your evidence section.
People frequently ask, why is that in there? And I always respond so that the validation team doesn't get lost or is able to find a certain classroom at a certain time.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's also in there to look at utilization of space. And one of the things that you're looking for as a validation team is to make sure that spaces are safe, they're secure, are there any blind spots or zones, or there, things in the floor plan that might create a safety concern or a safety issue in that environment.
Or junk that's stored under stairwells and other places that could be fire issues.
Absolutely. That is a safety issue as well. Not just safety for fire, because it can prevent exiting the building. Your egress is blocked, but it could also be a tripping hazard. And let's face it looks bad too. So we need to do a good job as Lutheran schools to make sure that we don't just have stuff all over the place. And, sometimes when we get visitors to our house, we create a place to shove all the junk that we have accumulated in our different rooms into a closet or under beds or wherever else. And then once the visitors leave, you go back to having that junk out again. Make sure that this is a consistent policy of your school to make clean, neat, attractive spaces that are good for the learning environment, for the teaching environment, and for your constituencies. So required and general indicators, again, safety, secure, well-maintained, and adequate for your needs as a school. They conform to the health, safety, and building codes, building grounds, the equipment, maintained, safe, age appropriate as well, and that the facilities provide specific and non-specific Christian witness. Buildings and grounds are systematically and appropriately maintained. You have a schedule of that maintenance as well. And then the team, the observations here, first impression, is it welcoming? Is it clean, neat, tidy? Is it reflective of the school's mission? And really, if you have junk laying all over the place, it's not reflective of your mission and your ministry. Classroom space adequate for the number of students in each classroom, the lighting, the temperature, the faith elements that are in there, common areas that you have, outdoor spaces, again, that it's maintained in age-appropriate restrooms are clean, accessible, compliant, checked, I would say, throughout the day as well. I've been to a lot of schools where if you walk in the morning, it might look good, and you walk in after a third period, it doesn't look so good. So how are you making sure that those restrooms are staying clean and neat, and ADA compliance as necessary, and then evidence of maintenance log, inspection records, improvement schedules, and what's being planned for the facility and grounds?
Every team that I've been on spends a significant amount of time observing arrival and dismissal procedures. I know it was mentioned before, but are students allowed to move between cars unattended? Is the traffic pattern safe? There's just important to review those things prior to your visit.
And sometimes, you'll get some pushback on some of these things when you're there as a validation team. And really, the validation team's concerned for students and the safety. And I always say everything's okay until it's not. So you might think, oh, well, it's no big deal. The student's walking in between cars. Well, it depends on the height of the student. It depends on the driver. It depends on the vehicle height as well. You might see the student walking out to a smaller car that's doesn't have as much lift and height to it. They walk out in front of an SUV that's higher up. You might not see the student then. All of these policies are in place for a reason. Safety is there for a reason. Last thing we ever want to see is putting a student at risk in drop-off, pickup, or in our facilities as well of anything, which is why we talk about age appropriate.
Implementation of any of these for any of the standards is not always going to be perfect. So there are going to be times when the visiting team will notice something at arrival that has never happened all year. They're still going to put it in their report. They're still going to tell you about it. And you can look at that and you go, okay, well, here's all our systems. Where did that fall apart on this one specific day? And how do we address that? So don't don't take that in the spirit of, well, it's never happened before. I don't know why you're bringing it up now. The validation team is bringing it up because that was their lived experience the 2 days they were there. And it is your job as the school to make sure that you are providing a safe and secure environment for students at all days. And so that gives you an opportunity to look back at your systems and make improvements.
Most visits take place in April. By April, many times parents or grandparents or who's ever picking up or dropping off kids have found their ways to get around the system. And when you had a good process in place in September at the beginning of the school year, is it still being followed when you get to the end of the school year?
And I would say we get a little bit more lax too as teachers and administrators in April because nothing has happened for the last 7 months. So you get a little complacent. You're not as aware as you were before. Rob, I like how you stated, it's about the systems, it's about examining this, it's about what the team saw in those 2 days. But if they saw it in those 2 days, it means it can happen. So you should really reflect on, hey, how do we address this? Where did our system maybe break down a little bit? It's all about improvements. It's all about growth. It's really about positivity of having the best ministry you can have. So it's not meant to be, oh, I can't believe they hit us on this, or I'm angry about that. Or no, it's all about, we want you to be the best serving ministry that you can possibly be, which is why we're bringing this up. And that also goes to something I always talk to validation teams about. This is not about tick-tacky stuff. We don't go in with the mindset of, I want to get you on a gotcha. No, I want to go in there. I want to validate. I want to affirm. I want to show you all the great things that maybe you're so close to, you're not even realizing. But I also want to make sure that you're functioning at high levels and that you're a ministry of excellence and doing all of this for students, parents, your teachers, all of your constituent groups, and that you're really that bright, shining light to your community. Any other final thoughts on Standard 7 on facilities? You covered quite a bit there in a short time.
Your facility is going to be the thing that it is easy for things to fall through the cracks here because you live in it every day. It becomes the background for you. And so as you're looking through this is where it's really important as you build out your teams that you have somebody with fresh eyes walk through and identify some of these things, because they're going to pick up things that you may not notice. And if they get to them, that means you can get to them before the validation team gets to them.
One of the things I always say about facilities is it's the first thing that people see. So when I drive into your parking lot, I see the buildings and grounds, I see the parking lot, I see whether or not the stripes are painted. If I walk into the front doors, are there signs there? When I open the door and walk inside, is it clean? Is it neat? Does it tell me it's a Christian school, Lutheran school? Do I know where I'm going? All of those things. And it is setting in a community. So it should be, people should drive by and say, wow, that's quite a school. That's impressive. And if they're taking care of the buildings and the grounds in that way, just think of how they take care of the students. If you're not taking care of the buildings and grounds in that way, maybe subconsciously, maybe consciously, somebody might be thinking, well, how are they taking care of the kids? So facilities say a lot. Thank you for joining us for National Lutheran School Accreditation How To Standard 7. Stay tuned for National Lutheran School Accreditation How To Standard 8 coming soon.